man, fuck what anybody say. Prison is the closest thing to hell on earth. Top of it, team. And now I'm about to give you part 2 of prison stories. Now, I should call it LA County stories because LA County Jail is where I'm going to start off with this, and I'm going to get straight to the point. So when I first started going to jail in like the early 2000s, I was going to the LA County Jail a lot. And in LA County Jail, it's a real packed jail system, one of the worst jail systems in the country, worse than penitentiary in a lot of ways. And so when you first get there, because it's so crowded, you got to be processed in. The purpose for processing is they got to classify you. So if you a homosexual, if you a Crip or Blood, if you got AIDS, they got to put you in certain cells with certain people. If you're going to PC, if you're going to be in general population, they need to know that. Because if they put you in the wrong place or they don't diagnose you right, you might have diabetes or something, might have a special diet. And then if something happens to you, they're responsible for you. So when you process in, because the county jail is so packed, it take a couple of days because they got to find beds for you to go into. They got to find places for you to come. And so a lot of times it took like 2 days to get to a bed. From the time you got brought to the county jail to the time you got in your cell, it took about 2 days. So in that process, you're going from holding tank to holding tank. And it's crazy because you don't be knowing what time of day it is. You don't be knowing, you know what I'm saying, what's going on. They constantly feeding you bologna, what they call them bologna sandwiches, or they giving you peanut butter. So you all clogged up and backed up, and you ain't getting no real sleep because you on edge because you just processing in, and you can't really like sleep too good because, you know, you got to watch niggas. You got to watch what's going on around you. It might crack off in the processing, you know what I'm saying, with another gang or another race. So you just in this whole little clusterfuck and you just trying to process everything, but really you get to a point where you just want to get to a bed. You get in these holding tanks, and a lot of cats you see sleeping on the floor using rolls of tissue that they give everybody for a pillow, or, you know, they got their arms tucked into their shirt because it's cold in these holding tanks. They got to keep it cold to keep the germs and stuff down. So it's just a real miserable process just getting in, and it's meant to break you down to me. And one of the most humiliating aspects of it is when you first come in, you got to take off the street clothes to get the county clothes. So they strip you down, and that's not nothing. I mean, you get stripped naked, but they make grown ass men bend over, spread their ass cheeks, and cough. And I mean cough. You got some asshole sheriffs, because the sheriffs run the LA County Jail, that'd be like, man, cough harder. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that asshole puckered. And they flashing flashlights and shit. And it's like, I don't give a fuck how hard of a gang member you are. I don't give a fuck how cold of a killer you are, nigga. You gonna spread your ass when they say spread your ass. You know why? Because if you don't, they got the boobop squad that's gonna come for you. And they gonna probably do a cavity search now, since you don't want to voluntarily show what's in your asshole. And the whole point of it is to make sure you're not bringing no contraband in. I understand they got metal detectors, why they can't use that, but they want to go deeper because there's certain things that metal detectors not going to detect, like plastic objects, drugs, and stuff like that. So that's one of the like most humiliating aspects of it. When I first had to do it, I just couldn't believe it, and I was seeing like some cold killers, and I'm like, they not bucking back. You feel me? And it's just like, it's a real humiliating situation, man. And it really make you think, man, am I really, you know, built for this? And I guess I was. I kept going back to jail, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when you finally get in, again, we're dealing with a packed jail system where there's more inmates than they actually got room. So they constantly shuffling people around. So this is the next aspect that made LA County Jail like hell. You got dorm living to where there's a gang of bunks in one big ass room. It's like 100 people up in this motherfucker, probably more. Then you got cell living. So you got 2-man cells and 4-man cells. Now, when the county was packed, they'll put 4 people in 2-man cells and they'll put 6 people in 4-man cells. Now, in the cells where there's 4 men, supposedly you'll have a bunk welded to the wall on this side, 2 stacked on top of each other. Then you had 2 bunks on this side. Then you have your toilet and your sink in the back. Well, how you getting 6 people in there? Because you got 2 floor sleepers. So you got 4 grown men sleeping on bunk beds, metal bunk beds, with thin ass mats about this big and a little quilted blanket and a little thin ass sheet. And then you got 2 grown ass men sleeping on the floor because they ain't got room to put them in no other space. Everything filled. And these motherfuckers so greedy, they keep bringing people into the jail. Now you could have leaking sinks, and remember the sink in the toilet is the same. So you got toilet water leaking on the floor. It's the old county motherfucker, like a dungeon. So you got rats running around this motherfucker. At that time, people was always worried about getting a staph infection. It was like a skin irritation that can turn deadly if it got too deep or got too bad. And you got all these elements that you got to worry about. At the same time, you got 6 other motherfuckers that you ain't never met in your life. You got probably a smoker on one bunk that's kicking crack right now, or heroin, or whatever he was on the streets. You feel me? And then you got maybe possibly other cats that you know you just don't like. Maybe a motherfucker in there ain't got good hygiene. Now he about to get boo-bop because he ain't washing his ass. But we can't wash our ass. You can't even program right. All this doing shit like lifting weights and working out and shit, that shit ain't going on. You in a 6-man cell 24 hours a day. You getting your food in there. You sleeping, you shitting, you eating, you playing cards, you doing everything in there. You might get a little bit of yard time depending on what floor you on and if the guards want to let you get some time. As far as showers, they got a shower for every row. But nigga, they give that to you at their discretion. If they want to give you a shower, you get a shower. If they don't feel like giving you a shower, they ain't gonna give you one. So it's possible that you might get a shower probably once a week. So how 6 grown men gonna be in a cell together, try to work out and do all this shit, getting funky and shit, shitting and pissing, and you gotta live with each other. So you can't really program, can't really exercise, can't really do nothing because it's like it's a fucked up situation that you in, and then it's overcrowded. And then the one that I was on when I was there, I was on the 2000 floor, and the neighborhood car was running the whole floor. So what they was doing was they was making pruno, and while they was making the pruno, they needed orange juice and oranges. So every day we would get our lunch and breakfast at the same time. And for lunch, and well, for breakfast, they'll give us 2 boiled eggs. They give us some bread. They'll give us orange juice, cereal, and milk. And then they gave us a sandwich for lunch. Well, we never got our orange juices and never got our oranges because the trustees who was running the dorm, not the dorm, but who was running the tier, they was taking all of the shit because they was running the shit. And the thing about it is, the sheriffs, they let the trustees run the program however they want to run the program, so they could just kick back. So they didn't give a fuck what they was doing. So if you try to complain like, hey man, we ain't getting no orange juice, they're gonna be like, I don't give a fuck, take it up with your fellow inmate. You feel me? And who gonna fuck with them? They running the thing. They'll make your life hard. You know what I'm saying? They'll have your cell open up in the middle of the night while you sleep, boo bop you real quick, and then close this shit back up. You don't never know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna do a part 3 because I have more that I give you, and I want to go more deeper into some other stories and some intimate situations because it's really important that you understand what's really going on behind the walls from my perspective, at least, and for all my listeners and followers and people that rock with me. I just want y'all to hear the story from my side.